Okay, so I can't tell you how many times I've had to re-record this tutorial because things have seemingly changed a lot in the newer versions of macOS. Now, if you watched my video about how I grade D-log-M, you'll have noticed that I recommended outputting as sRGB because that gave a consistent display across all browsers and players on the Mac. Now, for PC users, you might not be aware, but there is a strange gamma issue that afflicts the Mac, and you can output from your editing system and then upload to YouTube and play the video in Safari or Chrome, and it will suddenly appear with an enormous gamma shift, making everything look lifted and washed out. So I noticed recently that mine was showing the gamma shift again, and it didn't do this in previous versions of macOS. It was a problem that I thought I had solved, but strangely, it hadn't twigged that my footage was now a bit lifted from where it was in Resolve, and I feel a little bit embarrassed because I recommended that solution to all you people. So I've been doing a lot of experimentation because previously I found that the Rec 709A solution didn't work, and it didn't previously. You still had this gamma shift if you exported from Resolve or Premiere. If you exported from Final Cut Pro, strangely, things seem to work. But anyway, let's look at what a solution is to this. And if you're a PC or Linux owner, this goes for you guys as well, particularly if you're using Resolve. So you can see the grade of my lovely mug here in Resolve, and I've got my timeline or my project now set to the DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate, or you can set this to Rec 709, whichever one you want. And my output color space to Rec 709A, which is obviously been recommended before, but I haven't had much success with it. Anyway, Rec 709A for my output color space. Okay, that is now set. And I've got my Mac display, because I'm in Rec 709, so I set my display to Rec 709 as well. Now, this is on my laptop. I edit videos when I'm out and about, so I don't always have access to a secondary display or anything. So, that's a given. So if I need to edit and grade in Rec 709 space, then I'm going to put my display to Rec 709 as well. I know if you're a serious colorist, the idea of grading on a laptop will send shivers down your spine, but that's just the modern world. I'm not grading for critical broadcast output or Netflix, so it's just what happens these days. Sorry about that. So I do my grade, and I have got my DCTL set to Rec 709 to the power of 2.4. This gamma of 2.4 versus 2.2 for online versus broadcast. Gamma 2.4 is the standard across broadcast. You have to remember that your footage isn't just going to be watched on sRGB mobile displays. It's going to be displayed on Rec 709 television sets. It's going to be displayed on HDR displays, which is going to do something funky to your footage again. It's going to be displayed on tablets and phones that have weird and wonderful HDR displays as well as Mac laptops and desktop machines, which have their monitors set to Apple XDR, which again does even more funky things to your footage. But if we're looking for consistency of output and how the browsers will display the footage, this is finally the solution. So I'm going to go to my output, and I've set my color space to Rec 709, and I've set my gamma tag to Rec 709A. What's that buzzing around there? I don't want that. Go away. And I output my file, H.264, and if we look at what I see in Safari once I've uploaded it to YouTube, because this is the critical thing, it's not necessarily what you see in QuickTime Player, it's what you see when you've uploaded it to YouTube. Because YouTube sometimes misinterprets things when it does its re-encoding for display. But as you can see here in Safari, it's looking exactly as it should. It's looking exactly the same as my grade in Resolve. And if I go to Firefox, which has a different interpretation quite often, because Firefox will completely ignore color sync, which is the thing that causes these problems in the first place. It's Apple color sync that causes these issues. But as you can see, Firefox is showing the same result as well. So the solution that I can finally give to you, hopefully finally, and hopefully I'm not going to find any more funkiness going on, is in Resolve and in Premiere, set your project to Rec 709A, and any of your color space transforms you can use Rec 709 for that, and then on your output set it to Rec 709A as well, and that is finally giving the result that I and hopefully you want. There was somebody else who is a professional colorist who I believe gave this same advice, and I did comment that sRGB is the only way to get consistency, but it isn't anymore. So I apologize profusely for suggesting that now. So I feel like a bit of an idiot, but here we go. This is a solution as far as I can tell for now. And Final Cut Pro users, you don't need to worry about this, because the way that Final Cut Pro outputs this stuff, it just seems to work. So yeah, this is really for people who use Premiere and Resolve and editing systems outside of Final Cut Pro, and will also be important for people who are editing on the PC and Linux as well. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, I hope that is of some use to some people. So apologies for people who watched my D-Log M grading thing. The overall grading node system that I use is completely the same. All that's changed is that my project is now Rec 709A and my output is Rec 709A as well, and not sRGB. So anyway, I hope that's been of help. Hopefully no one's going to unsubscribe from me for that. But yeah, catch you in the next video.